Hi, I'm Brenda.
And I'm Jessica, and you're listening to the Lifting You Higher podcast,
where we like to take heavy topics and lighten them up.
Our goal is to encourage and lift you up on this journey we call life.
So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and enjoy.
Podcast. I'm Jessica, joined as always by my beautiful co-host
Brenda,
and we are so excited to have you listening or watching, wherever you are. Today.
And if you're watching and it goes weird, we're having a little technical difficulties that we're trying to work out, but we're going to solve the problems.
You know, technology, gotta love it. So, so we might have a little technical difficulties if you're watching. Listening, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about what it means to have Daniel-like faith, and we're talking about the book of Daniel in the Bible.
I think Daniel gets a lot of abuse because it's like the Daniel faith, the Daniel diet.
Yes.
I mean, it's like everybody's always like picking on poor Daniel. So,
but like if you read Daniel, the book of Daniel, like he was so like faithful. Like he prayed 3 times a day. Like God gave him so much favor. Like it's incredible.
And in a horrible situation.
Yeah.
Because think about it. I mean,
you're in exile, and King Nebuchadnezzar is forcing you to do things like they are. You know, like no.
Yeah. You're in a foreign land. Of course, we are in a foreign land. We are pilgrims in a foreign land. If you consider yourself to be a true Christian, you are a pilgrim, baby.
Yep.
In a foreign land. So anyway, go ahead. So go ahead, Jessica. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. So I just wanted us to talk about, kind of discuss what it means to have a Daniel-like faith. And before we dig into that, really, I wanted to mention that I read through Daniel, of course, but I also have been reading this book called The Writing on the Wall by Dr. David Jeremiah. And it is about... Are you excited?
I'm excited because I know that book. I have not read it yet, but I know that book.
Oh my gosh, it is so good. But it is about the prophecies in Daniel. So it is so, so good. Yeah.
All right.
Are you ready? All right. So let's kind of dig into Daniel. So what does it mean? Like, how can we have that kind of faith like Daniel? So first, Daniel was a Jewish prophet who was taken along with most of Israel into captivity to Babylon by King Nebuchadnezzar. But if you read Daniel, so you also know that he was also there for 2 other kings and was their help when all of the magicians and all of those other crazy people couldn't answer.
False prophet, yeah.
False prophets.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Witchcraft, whatever, false idol worship, whatever wasn't working. Yeah, when
all of that
didn't stop working, yeah.
Yeah, and then, so when Daniel was taken into captivity, he was renamed, ready for this? Belteshazzar.
Okay.
I'm going to mispronounce that, so I apologize.
Belshazzar.
Belshazzar. And that means wanting to take all of God out of him. So renaming him, Nebuchadnezzar wanted to take his God out of him and replace it with their God.
Awesome.
Lowercase g.
How lovely.
Yeah.
She says sarcastically.
Yes. Okay, so Daniel means God is my judge, and Belteshazzar means may God protect his life, lowercase g. Daniel the prophet was only a teenager when we're introduced to him in the book of Daniel, and he was an old man in captivity. So he spent most of his life in captivity in Babylon, unfortunately. Yet, the entire book of Daniel, his entire life, not once in his life did his faith in God waver.
Wow, that's awesome.
I mean, there's so many stories, like when he was put in the lion's den, when his friends were put into the fiery furnace. Mm-hmm. So God is faithful.
Right. So, and you cannot consider yourself to be a believer if you don't have faith. I mean, it starts, the whole relationship starts out with faith. It's if you confess with your mouth and believe in your heart, you are saved. So to believe means to have faith. And so we have to have that faith. You have it. You have it. You just have to build upon it and work upon it and rely upon it. And I think there's Daniel did some things to help him not sway from that, having that faith. And you pointed them out so greatly here. And go ahead and do the first one.
Oh.
I keep hitting you in the arm.
No, you're good. Okay. We've slowly made this a thing for every podcast, but it's everybody's favorite time.
Oh, definitions time.
Definitions with Jess. Okay, so faith. Faith. So the Greek word is pistis, which is faith. It's belief or trust in a higher power, the state of being persuaded of something, belief, confidence, or assurance. So it's like, it's not like what am I trying to say? Like a base layer of like, okay, yeah, I kind of believe that. But no, it is like a belief. Like,
100% you are in.
Yes.
Okay, got
Yeah.
it. You know, do you know who Rick Renner is?
Yeah.
Okay, so you kind of like, they used to a long time ago call him the Greek geek.
Yeah.
Because he always translate everything. So you were like the Greek geek.
The Greek geek. Yeah, I like that.
2.
Well, it's so fascinating. Junior.
The Greek geek junior. I said that 3 times real
Oh my
fast.
goodness.
The Greek geek junior.
Yes.
Okay.
It's so fascinating when you dig into the Greek and Hebrew meanings of words, and it just opens my mind farther to help me.
Well, it's
study.
not like it's just one word translation. It's like a big paragraph describing this one word.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of funny. But
Yeah.
It's so true. And it does help. So, okay, so we're not talking about just a whim. We're talking about deep down to the bone.
Yes.
This is my faith.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, and you have it in you. You do, because we have that promise that it's in us. You have, as a mustard seed, even, we have it in us.
Yeah.
It's just that we have to exercise it and have faith. I mean,
Can I mention
can't
something?
Even explain it. It's just like it's part of who you are. If you say you have Jesus living in your heart, it is who you are.
Yeah. Can I mention something real quick?
Go.
Not related to Daniel. But when people say, oh, I have faith to move mountains, and somebody really does have faith to move mountains and it doesn't move, it doesn't mean you didn't have faith.
That's right.
Okay. It just maybe wasn't God's will.
Timing. That's right. It's all about timing.
Real quick before you move on, Hebrews 11:1, it says, now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. So that just goes back to the definition of faith. But
so what are some practical principles that we can take away to use so that we can build our faith up? Because I think so many people, they, this is your take. Let me give you some stuff to take away so that you can build up your faith, and that you can know that it's there, that God is there for you, and it's part of your relationship. And so, so what are some of those practical principles?
Yeah. So the first one from the story of Daniel is he didn't let life tempt him. So when the king was gonna, put a purple robe on him and make him the second highest official, he turned that down. He didn't let it sway his decision or the way he worshiped God.
That's right. And I think also what Daniel did is that he didn't partake of the worldly things. He set himself apart, and so that his faith wouldn't be mixed with secular things, the things of the world. And I think so many times that we need to do that. In fact, in 2 Corinthians 6:17, it says, come out. Stop doing it. Come out from that nonsense
Yeah.
and be separated. And that doesn't mean, okay, I'm not ever going to talk or socialize with anybody that's not a believer. That's not what that means. It means that in a personal level, you know what your borders should be. You know what your boundaries should be and what you can and cannot do to stay in a holy, faithful life with God. Because when you cross over those boundaries, those borders, then you have a battle on your hands. You have to take back territory, and taking back territory is harder than taking territory for the first time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, my boundary is this. When I was living in the world, and this is just telling my age, but whatever. When I was living in the world, discos were like the club. It was a club. I was a club girl. Man, I was at the club every night but Sunday night, and that was because the clubs weren't open on Sunday nights. And so I was down at the disco having fun. Well, I can't do that anymore. If I want to live a holy, faithful life, I can't go clubbing. And is it a sacrifice? Not really. Not really, because I remember what that life was like, and I don't want to be in that life anymore. I want to be in a relationship with God our Father, Jesus Christ, and where that is where I feel fulfilled. That's where the emptiness is filled up. That's where the joy, peace. Oh my gosh, peace is so not talked enough about.
I know.
No, I have peace. I have, all these things that I have now that I did not have, that I thought I was going to try to find at the club. And so, so my boundary is that I separate myself from that. Now, do I condemn someone else that's living that life? No, I don't, because they just haven't got the revelation yet.
Yeah. Their
Their time is coming. They just haven't gotten the revelation that that's not where it's at. That's not where they're going to find what they're searching for.
Yeah.
So Daniel wasn't down at the disco on Saturday night, Friday night, Thursday night, whatever nights. He just wasn't, he didn't partake in that. He didn't condemn those that did, but he was not partaking of that because he wanted to have a relationship with Jesus that was based on that, not on seeking something that was just satisfying to the flesh.
Right, yeah. He also didn't partake of the meat that was already sacrificed to idols. He was like, feed me and my friends just vegetables and we'll drink water. Not even the wine. And that's what I think kept them from, that kept that deeper relationship with the Lord and ended up helping him and giving him favor. So
that's right. So there are things that that you can't, what your weaknesses are.
yeah.
The things that you can't partake, that in partaking, it separates your relationship with Jesus. It's like, okay, I can't do that. I can't, smoke. I can't, and by smoke, I'm not talking about cigarettes, although cigarettes are disgusting too. I'm not going to partake in smoking marijuana or something because that's a separation. That's separating me from my relationship with Jesus. So I can't do that. These are things, what they are because you know what they are.
Because
it's you.
It's you, but also the enemy likes to bring those up over and over again.
That's right. So I can't partake in that and then say, that everything's great between my relationship with Jesus and me. No, you have not separated yourself from the things of the world. And again, I'm not saying you condemn the people that are still in that. They just haven't got the revelation yet. Or maybe they have, but they just don't, they have chosen not to turn away from it.
Yeah.
And so that, again, that's them. We're talking about you.
Yes.
And so, or me. And so I cannot partake of that if I'm going to say I'm in a relationship with Jesus and I'm trying to build that relationship to the full glory of what God wants it to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
So that's what separation means.
Yeah.
Come out, separate. It means what you're supposed to separate yourself from and stop doing it, partaking in it, because it's damaging, it's separating you from the relationship you have with Jesus.
Yeah, so next is Daniel prayed 3 times a day. It didn't matter what he was doing. It didn't matter who he was with. He stopped and he prayed in his quiet place 3 times a day. And how many times are you praying a day?
Or do you pray?
Or do you even pray? But honestly, this morning, I was convicted that I was not praying enough. I'm like, I gave 20 minutes to the Lord. Well, okay, got to get on with my day because I have, a whole long list of things I got to do before this morning. And I was like, actually, you know what? Those things can wait. Because what's more important here? Having a clean house or having a deep relationship with the Lord? 100% have a deep relationship with the Lord.
That's right. That's right. And that is so true because you have to. How do you build a relationship? Can you build a relationship without spending time with someone?
No.
No. I mean, in the natural, if I saw someone, I want to be that person's friend. So what do? You orchestrate opportunities to spend time with that person, right? Yeah. Same principle. So if you want to have a deep relationship with Jesus, you must orchestrate time to spend with him. Mm-hmm. And again, we're not trying to make it into a religious thing because Lord knows we don't want that. We're trying to make it real personal. So it's like, what is it that you need to do so that you can spend some time with God? And I've given this testimony probably 100 times before. I'm sick of hearing it, but it is the truth. Mm-hmm. And that is, when I was a baby Christian, I wanted to spend time with Jesus. I had seen mature Christians and I thought, I want to be like that. Mm-hmm. And so I knew that I had to spend time with God, but I was such a big flesh baby that, it was like the Holy Spirit said, just give me 3 minutes a day. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, I can do 3 minutes. I still to this day remember that conversation and just like shake my head. It's like, oh my God, I really did say that I can do 3 minutes. Like that was a big deal. Like, wow, I was making a sacrifice, And so I started out 3 minutes a day and I tell people, and this is again the truth, I'm not making this up. I actually watched my watch, it was like, okay, that was 1 minute, and mm-hmm. so I had learned to set my face and say, okay, I'm going to spend time with Jesus and I'm going to do this. And that's how it slowly but surely grew into time where it was just more than 3 minutes. Yeah. And so if that's a situation where you're in, then do it. Just try 3 minutes and work your way into it. Yeah. There's now, therefore, no condemnation for those who are in Jesus Christ. So don't be thinking bad about yourself that you're just starting out baby steps. That's fine. Start out with baby steps. At least you're stepping, and that's okay. Yeah. And that's what Daniel did. He said, stop. I'm going to spend time with God. Mm-hmm. And you said that about yourself this morning. God has really been dealing with me about, and I do spend time in the morning with God in prayer. Just try to start doing something in the evening. And it's been a real struggle. And so I in fact I bought a study guide, a prayer devotional book, mm-hmm. To kind of like motivate me, and so it's been a real struggle because it's like before I know it, it's bedtime. Yep. And then it's like, well, I'm tired. I just want to go to bed. For goodness sakes, I've got to go to work tomorrow. Yeah. I have all these excuses why not to spend time. Just a smidgen of time. So it's like I'm all the way back. Mm-hmm. I've been bumped all the way back. Now that I've accomplished, a set time in the morning, it's like now God has pushed me all the way back to kindergarten, again. And here we start all over again with the struggle just to carve out some time in my life in the evening before I go to bed where I'm just spending a few minutes with him, before I go to sleep. Yeah. And it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. But Daniel did it 3 times a day.
I know. Okay, well, the word says, pray continually without ceasing. So we're supposed to be praying all day. And I do find myself praying throughout the day, but it's not that one-on-one time,
Yeah, where you just shut everything out.
Where you shut everything out, and I'm like listening for the still small voice of the Lord and for direction and guidance and, encouragement.
That's right. That's right. And being lifted up and fed. Yes. I always tell, that I do a prison ministry. I always tell the women, what are you going to feed? That's what's going to be the strongest. Yep. And with the way the world is and everything, that'll tell you better be feeding your spirit woman. Yes. Let's tell you. Okay. So that's the first, he did that. And then the third thing was?
Even in the midst of fear and uncertainty, Daniel was still faithful to God and trusted that he would bring him out of it. So in the midst of a lion's den, he was like, nah, God's got this. God's got me. I'm good. Those lions aren't hungry. They're not going to eat me.
I just deep sigh.
I know. I'm like, I have faith. Like faith is one of my gifts. So like sometimes the Lord allows me to have like that extra, faith. And I don't, even now thinking about it, I don't know if I would have that much faith in the lion's den or in the fiery furnace.
Yeah, it's, here's the deal. We're going to be tested.
Yeah.
Not because God is testing us to see if we'll pass or not, but because he wants us to see about us.
Yep.
It's a one-on-one thing. So there are going to be tests in our life. Well, there's tests in our life. One because we live in a corrupt world. Mm-hmm. So I mean, we are just pilgrims here in this crazy town, and so there's going to be tests that way, and then there's going to be tests that God allows so we can know where we are in our faith, mm-hmm. and know what we need to work on, and see how far we've come. Like yes, I knew that God would bring us through, or I knew God would do this, and so it's a maturing process, and we are going to experience tests. Mm-hmm. There are going to be tests and trials. The Bible tells it straight up. Yeah. And that's part of what that whole word perseverance is all about. One of my least favorite words. And so it's all about that too. The Bible talks about that. And so we're going to experience that. And, but that's how we build our faith, because that says line upon line, mm-hmm. precept upon precept, step upon step. That's how we know. That's how we can look back. We can look back and see what God did in, 2012, see what he did in 2020. It's just like, I know my God will come through.
Yes. So that's I wanted to read Daniel 6:22. We're talking about kind of like that, innocence, kind of like humbling ourselves. We've talked about that before, but in Daniel 6:22, it says, "My God sent his angel and he shut the mouths of the lions. They have not hurt me because I was found innocent in his sight, nor have I ever done anything wrong before you, O king." So he's innocent before the Lord. So the Lord has found him worthy, and he has not sinned against Nebuchadnezzar. Like, he has not said anything, done anything wrong to Nebuchadnezzar. So, yeah.
So, yeah. So, it's we're just going to go through tests. I mean, that's just it. I mean, just know it's going to happen. And it's so that you know how strong you are. Mm-hmm. So that you know how strong you are. But, and those people that think they can outrun tests,
good luck.
Yeah. You're going to happen. Good luck with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So God gave Daniel favor. And when God gives us favor, because he does give us favor, we can't be like all showy about it and proud. We have to humble ourselves. And just to hop a foot on my soapbox, if we humble ourselves now, like, just think of all of the incredible things that God would give us, would bless his people with. But we are, as a, Christian body, I know not everybody is this way, but there are a lot of people who are very prideful. And if you would just humble yourself and say, you know what, I did screw up, man, life would be so much different. Anyway, taking my foot back off.
Well,
but,
yeah,
it's just, he was found innocent before the Lord, and he humbled himself. And I think it's so important for us to humble ourselves before the Lord.
I think that so many times that there's a lot of believers, and I mean, I'm sorry, I'm just picking on us. I'm picking on the church because I am just like so over it.
Well,
I'm so over people.
We don't have time.
Right. I'm so over people trying to present themselves as Christians, and it's like, dude, I mean, you may have Jesus in your heart, but you are a fair-weathered Christian. Mm-hmm. You're a Christian when you feel like it, and not when you're not. And so don't lump me into your group. Yep. Because that is not it. And so And to tell you the truth, they're miserable because the Bible says that if you're on the fence, if you're lukewarm, you're worse off than someone who is a full-on sinner.
Right.
And so it's kind of like, I'm like, don't let me into your group.
No.
No. And so I am not a fair weather Christian. I am not on the fence. I don't have a foot in both worlds. It's like, because you're going to get trials and tribulations whether you're for Jesus or against Jesus.
Yeah.
Because the devil don't love you.
Oh, no.
I know. In fact, he takes joy in making you miserable. So you might as well be on the winning team,
Hey. Yeah. So, yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. Like, because Daniel wasn't a fair weather believer because he
I
didn't
don't think so.
obey.
You get thrown in a den with a bunch of lions.
I know.
And don't cower in a corner crying.
Right.
I'm pretty sure you're not a fair weather Christian. That would be me. I would be like all bowled up going, okay, just make it fast. See me fast.
But he didn't do it just when it was convenient for him.
Right.
He did it when it was inconvenient for him, and he was blessed tremendously for that. So
that's right.
And Daniel also refused to compromise on his beliefs, on his convictions, and on his morals.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't about to eat sacrificed food that was, sacrificed to idols. He wasn't going to eat that and, what's the word? Ruin his body or...
Contaminate.
Contaminate, yeah.
I have to tell you, I'll just out myself here. Okay, so I have an actual piece of artwork. Okay, you know how those great painters of the Renaissance time painted, all these biblical stories? Well, I have one of these copies of Daniel in the lion's den, where he's standing with his back to the lions and he's in the cave or prison. And then underneath it is the scripture. And I got that because, and I'll just tell you straight, the picture just amazes me because I think, his faith where he just stood there with his face to the light. His head is lifted up to the light. And I think I think I would be in the corner, cower, just rolled in a ball, just, crying, thinking, is it going to hurt when they start jumping on, when they start chewing on me. And this guy's just standing there, and of course we don't know what really went down in that room.
Yeah.
The only person that knows is God and Daniel. But but our faith in the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, the Alpha and Omega, the beginning, the end.
Yes.
Yahweh, the one true God. That's the faith. And that all things he is the master of all things. And so it just reminds me of that. It's like your God is the God. You're serving him, not a substitute.
Yeah.
Get up out of that corner. Stop whining. You are not lion food.
Yeah. Well, I know it might be hard for us to compare like our lives now versus like Daniel's life, but just think of like your life. Like, I know when I had brain surgery in 2020, that was like a moment in the lion's den, and I had so much faith, and it was just like peace. Peace. So, and I was like, I'm going to be fine. It'll be fine. And it was.
That's right.
So it doesn't have to be like the actual like lions coming to hunt you down, kind of moment for your life, but it's big moments like that that nobody thinks that good is going to come from it, but it does.
And in each of us is different stories. And again, that's what's called a testimony. That's what's called a testimony.
Yeah.
And to have faith, you're going to have some testimonies.
Yep.
And you have to go through some testimonies to have big faith.
Yep.
And they're kind of sisters. They go hand in hand. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I just wanted us to end on a question for you to mull over and to think about. What are you doing to stand firm in faith so that when those times of crisis come, your trust does not waver? So think about that. And just remember, as we always say, you are so loved. You are wanted. You are needed. You are beautiful inside and out. You're enough. You're worthy of of that. And we just call you blessed. And we just pray a blessing of safety over each of you. And we're looking forward to connecting with you next time.
That's right.